Today I'm going to recreate a late Victorian hairstyle. Now when I'm teaching, my students often say to me, what's your favourite period hairstyle to recreate? And much as I love the Georgian period, Victorian is my favourite, late Victorian is my favourite. And by late Victorian, I mean from 1870 onwards. The Victorian period is quite a long period. Victoria was on the throne from 1837 to 1901. And so obviously during this time, hairstyles changed quite dramatically. Early Victorian, we see much smaller, more contained hair with the plaits, with little ringlets, or just with the hair scraped back into the bun. But late Victorian, we see a much different profile, a much different shape. It's softer, it's prettier, narrow at the sides with the height on the crown. Now, I've got some really lovely reference pictures here. On this one here, you can see the lovely profile that you have here. Height on the crown. Now, they used to use switches, and they would use pieces. You can see here on this plate here, on the left, you can see these are the pieces, and they would just they'd have a little comb there, and they'd just put them into their hair, and then this would allow them to have really big, elaborate hair. And there you can see the ringlets. Sometimes there were twists, quite the variety. But again, what you can see is that shape. Narrow at the nape, height on the crown, and narrow here at the sides. Okay, now I have 3 sets of hot sticks here, ready to go. Both sizes are the small ones here, which I'm going to use at the front, and the larger ones, which I'm going to use over the crown and round the back. Now, I have made a centre parting in Daisy's hair. I'm just going to clean that up a bit, make sure I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to use some setting lotion as I go through. I'm going to use the L'Oreal, technically. And I'm going to use the smaller hot sticks just around the front. I want quite a lot of movement throughout this style because I want a lot of curl. So I'm going to set this front section with the smaller size, and then I'm going to use the larger ones at the back and over the crown. Okay, so take reasonably small sections, just away from that parting. Okay. Now Daisy's got a little bit of a fringe, so yeah, I'm working with a little bit of a layer here. So just tuck that in, make sure it's nice and smooth, tight with some good tension. Okay, and then pop that in like so. So then I'm just going to carry on down here, down in this section with the smaller hot sticks. Okay, right, great. So I've packed them in. I've got a lot of bendies in there. I want a lot of movement, a lot of curl. So I've got the smaller ones at the front, the bigger ones at the back and the sides and on the crown. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake Daisy's hair for about 10 minutes. Just just to make sure that my set is really baked in and I've got a lot of movement, okay? And so to do this, I'm going to use one of these, which is a brilliant thing if you're a period hairdresser. It's a hood dryer. It's really light, it's really compact because it'll squish right down to that size. I carry mine about in one of these bags. And basically, you put a hairdryer in the bottom, blast hot air through it, and it's like an old-fashioned hairdryer that they used to have in salons, like in the sort of 50s to the 80s or whenever they stopped having them. But it's just putting heat on the hair, which just means it'll bake in and it'll give you an even stronger set. So before I do that, I just want to put a hairnet on top. This will just stop any hair it getting to fly away, and just keeping it all nice and secure under that hood. Okay, Daisy, you okay? Mm-hmm. Right, just tuck it all in nice and securely. There we are. Lovely. Right, just going to put this hood on top. Just pops over there. It's quite big. Just make sure that your model's okay. You just pull it tight there. Okay, just tuck that inside. Okay, now once you're happy with that, just get your hairdryer and then just plug that in. Just put your hairdryer in here, like so. And it's got elastic, so it'll just right, okay. Right, so how does that feel? So you can see it'll sort of blow up there. Okay, and then you can just leave it. Just make sure that the vent is clear so that nothing's covering that, and then you can just leave it there. Okay, so we're going to leave Daisy under here for about 2 minutes. Okay, so Daisy's been under here now for about 10 minutes, so I'm going to take it off. There we are. I'm going to take the hood off, and then I'm just going to leave the sticks. I'm going to leave the set basically to cool down. So we'll just take this off. And then we're just going to leave that now for a little while to cool down. Okay, right, so hair's cooled down, so now I'm going to just take all of these hot sticks out. Starting at the back. Lovely. So I can see I've got a lot of nice curl there. Okay, now I've taken all of the back section out. For now, what I've done is I've just left this front section, and this is the part of the hair that I'll dress out at the very end once I've done all of this. I've got lots of curl, and the curl is nice and tight because and this is helped by the fact that I baked it. I put the hood dryer on and I baked it, so it's given us lots of really lovely curl, which we really need for this style. Now, I want to just talk to you about padding. I've got some padding here, which I am going to use just on the top here. And this is made from crepe hair. And I've just made a bit of a sort of oblong shape. It's nice and malleable, the crepe hair. So I'm going to use that just at the top. And also, I've got some pieces of weft here. Now, I'm just using weft because this was the only thing I had that was a really similar colour to Daisy's hair. So I've set them up on the red rollers, so it's going to give me quite a lot of curl. Just going to take those out. You can see I've got a nice curl there. I mean, you can use switches, or you can use obviously pieces, clusters if you have them, but at home this was the colour that was a really good match for Daisy's hair, so hence this is why I've got a few of these pieces of weft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach them to the crown here, and they're just going to give me a bit more hair to work with. I mean, Daisy has got quite a lot of hair. I probably don't need to add any more, but I just want to show you how you would add hair, and for someone who, if your model didn't have quite so much hair, you can just add some pieces, and I'm just going to show you how I would do that. So when I am dressing quite an elaborate hairstyle like this, something, a bit of a construction hairstyle, something that takes me quite a lot of time, I tend to think about it in sections. And I always say that to my students, because sometimes, like, if you've got a lot of hair with a style like this, it can become quite overwhelming. So I always say, sort of narrow it down into sections. So if you have this as sort of your section 1, and then section 2 here at the back, section 3, 4, and then the front, section 5, for example. You know, just so that in your head you can sort of work through it systematically and you don't sort of panic as much. So if I say now, I'm going to start with my little section 1 at the top. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this crepe hair padding that I spoke about, and then I'm also going to add the weft into the back. Okay, I'm going to create a nice cluster of curl here at the top, and the curl will extend all the way down the back, and then I bring my sides in. Now I do have quite a lot of hair to play with, so I'm just going to start now by just putting this padding at the top. Now, Daisy doesn't really need padding, she does have quite a lot of hair, but what the padding gives you a nice anchor point, and it gives you a nice base in which to then dress the hair over the top, and I find that it really helps with my shape. So before I put the padding in, I need to just create a little anchor point in which to pin it to, okay, because you know how important it is that your padding doesn't move. Okay, so you just make a little pin curl with the hair and grip that in nice and secure, a nice little pin curl there. And let's do another one, because you need something, you need that anchor point in which to pin your padding to, because if the padding starts to move, the hairstyle, everything will start to move, and it'll all be doomed. I have a very good friend, Laura Solari, who also teaches, does the same as me, and she always says you can't build a house on sand, and this is a very good description, because obviously your padding needs to be really secure, because then you can't put the hair over the top if this is moving. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. Right, I'm just going to put that over the top. Okay, I'm going to just check on my profile that I'm happy with the position. So it's not too far forward. And then I'm just going to grip that in. With late Victorian, a lot of the height is on the crown. So I'm going to just use some of these pins as well. These long pins, and I can just put get that right in there. And make sure that, so before, as I say, when I was talking with my sections, before you go to section 2, make sure you're really happy with your frost section. Okay. Right. Okay, so there's my little bit of padding. Right, and I'm happy with that because it's not going to move. Okay, now, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to attach my pieces again in the same way. We're going to take a section of hair, and there are different ways of doing this. I pin curl because I think it gives me a nice secure anchor point to pin into. Other people may do other things. You can maybe plait, or you're just trying to secure that anchor point, to create the anchor point. That's what you're doing. So I'm just going to do another couple here. Just creating another little pin curl there. Just grip that in. And then I'm going to pin my weft to these pin curls. Now, with the hair at the side, if you've got a lot of hair here at the side, you can just take it. If it's easier for you while you're working, you can section it out of the way. You can just put it like that, put it in a little section, just so that all your hair isn't all over the place, and then you can get a little bit overwhelmed. So if you just take that section there, and then you can just put that over there. So I've just got this section at the back. Right, I'm just going to, looking at that, I'm just going to do another pin curl. So I've got 3 at the back. There we go. The pin curls are just running along the bottom of that piece of padding that I put in. So I'm getting my foundation right. I'm getting it's nice and solid before I start. Before you do all the really creative, fancy stuff, get your foundation secure. Okay, and then just making sure it's in the right place. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just I'm just going to pin in. I'm just going to grip this. I'm going to use my matte grips. I talk about shiny and matte grips. The matte grips have a coating on them, and it means that they, once you grip the hair in, they're pretty secure. The coating really helps. It helps the grip not to move. So once it's in there, once you've gripped it right through, grip the hair into that pin curl, it doesn't move very easily. They're really great. I use a combination of the matte grips for certain things, and then I use the shiny. Okay, so I'm just gripping another piece of weft in there. Just make sure as you grip it in, just give it a little pull on it and just make sure that it's not moving. Okay, just that you're happy with that. As I say, it would have been easier if I'd had a switch, but colour-wise, I just didn't have anything that matched Daisy's hair. So, right, I'm just gonna grip that weft into your pin curls. Okay, now I'm ready to dress over the top. Okay, now I'm going to take some hair, some of Daisy's hair, not the piece. I'm just going to take some hair here from the side. Now what I'm planning to do now is I'm just now going to dress all of this hair all the way down the back. Okay, I want to get some nice soft curl using a little bit of anti-frizz. This is just a L'Oreal anti-frizz, and I'm also going to use some Vitapoint, which is it's quite an old-fashioned product. It's a leave-in conditioner, which we use a lot of in period hairdressing. You've just got to be careful with the Vitapoint that you don't use too much of it. You only need a little bit, okay? So don't, because it's quite an oily product. So if you put too much in, you can't get rid of it. So you just need a little bit. Okay, right. So a little bit of a back comb, and then I'm going to dress this hair over the top of here. Just going to dress it, just so that we get rid of the padding. Okay, so get rid of that padding. Okay, I'm just going to grip that in using a shiny grip this time. Just that shiny grip there. Right, so I'm going to keep that there, and then with the end of that hair, you can just curl that round to create a nice little curl there. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to curl all this. Just going to curl all this hair over the top to give me some really nice softness. Okay, I'm just taking this little section here, just just going to leave that at the front. I'm going to keep that just I'm going to pin that into the front there because I'll use that a bit later. So I just want this bit of hair here. Alright, so I've got a bit of the Vita point on my hands. And just get any little knots out of the hair. Okay. Now again, I'm just going to pull it over. I'm going to pull that over again just to cover. So I don't want to see any of that crepe hair. So I just need to pull that over and grip that in there. Make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, now I'm just going to take this little bit of hair here, which is part of this front. Okay, I'm not going to do, just going to pin that out of the way because that's going to be part, when I dress the front, that's going to be, so this is all about this section here. Right, so that was my piece of curl there, the piece of hair that I brought across the crepe. So I'm just dressing that. The end of that hair. Okay, right, now just grip that in. Grip that in there. Put a little pin in there. Just hold that down. Right. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this piece now. I'm just bring it over the top. Now there's some nice big curl in this piece already, so to be honest, I don't need to do too much to it. I can just let the hair sort of see what the hair wants to do. You've set it. It was set on a red roller, so there's a lot of movement in there. So just sort of let it fall down there, and just place it and grip that in. The shiny grips on the top here, they go in easier than the matte. The matte, because they've got the coating, they can snag a little bit on your on the hair. So just okay. So again, this is just another piece of the weft, so it's not Daisy's hair. So just roll the hair around your fingers and let's pull that. I'll just pull it up there. Just pull it and then just grip it in. Okay, grip it in there. Right, and more weft. So this is like this is sort of stage one where I'm creating the cluster of curl on the top. Okay, and then we can just pull that over. Pull that over there, and just use that curl at the top there. Just grip that in. You don't, as I say, you don't really need You don't need to do too much to it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Some of them are really, really high. Some of them are, but you know, I'm not going to make it too heavy. Daisy is young. She's a young girl, so I'm not going to over elaborate. You know, for the purpose of the demo, I'm doing enough, but I'm not going to add lots and lots of pieces because it's just going to be too heavy for her, and it's just going to be a bit much. So, right, I'm just pulling up that weft there, just pulling up in there, and just gripping in those curls. Like that. Okay. Right, now I've got a little gap here. So what I can do with this here, I can just fill that little gap. Just let the hair, let it drape there, and just fill that little gap there with that hair, and then grip it in like so. Okay. Right. Okay, so I've got one more piece of weft here. So I can just twist that in. So it's got a slightly different texture to Daisy's own hair, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to pull it up there, and just grip that in there. Just grip it in that little space. Okay, right. And make sure that everything's gripped securely before you move on to your next section. Okay, right. I'm just going to check my profiles. Okay, so this is sort of section 1 done. When I talked about my sort of section 1 to 5, this is like my first section. So this is where I've got my padding, and I've used the weft to create that little cluster of curls at the top. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use all of Daisy's own hair here at the back to create some length and some curl down the back, and then I'll keep those sides nice and flat. Okay. So a sort of section, like a little middle section at the back. Okay, right. Now I'm going to brush through the hair. Okay, now I've got a lot of movement in it, which is good. But it's quite fly away. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use some of this anti-frizz at the back, and I'm going to pull. I'm just going to dress that up. I'm just going to dress it up into into this section here. Okay, so I'm going to pull the hair up here. Okay, to here. And I'm just going to grip that using the matte grips because I need that hair to stay. I need it to be really secure, so I'm just gonna grip that there. Like so, and make sure it's really secure and not moving before you move on. So no one's going to see these grips. You can grip it in really tightly. Okay, so I'll put 4 in there, but now I've got this hair here. Right, now I'm going to split it into 2. Okay, and just going to comb it through. Just work it through with my fingers. Just to get some nice curl, not like a ringlety curl. Just move that through, okay. And once I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend Daisy's hair with the hair that I've got on top. Okay, so with this, and you can see the colour match is pretty good, hence that's why I use that weft. So just pinning that in there. Okay. So what I'm aware of is keeping this the height here on the crown, and not letting it get too small, because this is the distinctive late Victorian look, is this height here. It was quite close at the nape, and the volume was here at the back. Okay, so now I've got this other piece of Daisy's hair here. Okay. Okay, so just move the hair around your fingers. Okay. Right, and then I'm just going to pin that in there. Just going to pin in there, like so. And then with this hair at the end, I'm just going to contain that as well. And just pin that in. Right here. And before, just making sure it's really secure before I move on. Right, so I've done sort of stages 1 and 2, if you like, and now what I need to do is just to bring this hair here, the hair at the sides, into the back and create the elongated curl. So I'm going to split, I'm just going to take this section here into 2. I'm just going to pin that up there. I'll stay. Just going to pin that up there. Same at the other side. Just going to take that section up there. And I'm just going to work on this hair here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this hair in, twist it round. Okay, I'll pull this across here. I'm going to pull it in, put it across, grip it in using the mat grips. Just going to keep that nice and flat there at the nape. Okay, I'm just going to grip that nice and securely. Okay, and just going to curl that hair. Just going to curl that hair there and just keep that nice and low there at the nape. I'm going to pin that in. Okay, I'm just going to tighten that a bit smaller. Okay, and just grip that nice and secure, and it comes down. They came down quite low there. Quite low at that nape. Okay, now just grip it in. Grip it in there so it comes right down. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. So I'm just going to bring that hair across, brush it through, a little bit of product on that. So if the hair, if it's quite static and it's getting quite fuzzy, put some product on it. A little bit of natural hairiness is okay, but if it's getting too much, right, I'm just going to bring that across here now to the other side. Okay, and keep it nice and tight at the side. Don't let it get too baggy at the nape. Okay, nice firm gripping. Quite a few grips if you need them, so that the hair's not moving. Okay, keep that. And then with this hair, you can, depending how much hair you've got, you can split it, or you can just if you've got a lot of hair, you can split it, but if not, you can just use it. So just grip that in there. Right, now, the hair that I've pinned up, I'm just going to bring that back here and into this section here. So, brush it through. back to here, and then again with your matte grips, just grip that in really securely. Keep this nice and tight here. Nape. And then we can just with that here, if we've got some sort of nice, keep it in a nice ringlet if you can. Try and avoid it splitting too much. Great. And then just pull that in and then grip that into that space there. There we are. Again, just keep it nice and soft. If you do have any ends that have they're not as curly as you'd like, you can just hide those. Just twist them and just hide them in there. Grip nice and tightly there. This one wants to slip out. If it does, sometimes the shiny ones will slip. Just substitute it for a matte grip or a little pin if it's going to slip. Right. So I'm just going to do the same on the other side. So just pull that hair in so that it's nice and tight here, and then just with this, just try and create this nice ringlet. There we go. The hair's nice and long, so you can really use that. You can sort of make a little curl there. And as long as you just create something nice at the back, just create a nice cluster of curl. Just keep it light, keep it soft, pretty, and all the time keeping that shape. Right, and it's keeping the narrowness at the back, at the nape here. Okay, so this is sort of, when I was talking about my stages, this is sort of stage 3 and 4, finishing that off. Just making sure all the little ends are pinned in nice and secure before you go in. Right, okay. So just checking my profile. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to this section at the front. Now I've got some hair here that I actually pinned. I pinned back because I just wasn't sure. I wasn't sure whether I was going to need some hair there to cover my padding. Because sometimes you can see the padding. I can see that little bit of padding there. So what I can do is just with that hair, just with Daisy's hair, I can just pop put that in there, and that will hide that padding at the front. And anything that's moving around, you just slip that little end of here. I'm just going to pin that in. And there we are. Right, and just with that other hair at the front there, this that I pinned in, just going to do the same. Just going to do the same with that. I'll just split it. So as I say, this was just here that I kept it just in case I needed something at the front. Just to hide that padding. Right. Just pin it in, grip it in securely. Yeah, control that here. Just pin that in there, and then this here. Again, Daisy's got a little bit of bleach at the end, which I also, end of her hair at the front, I want to get rid of that as well. So I'm just gonna pop that in there and grip that in, grip it in securely, just in there. Okay, right, so I'm just going to take stock a little bit for shape. So it's nice and narrow, it's elongated at the back. Now I'm going to do the front, but then I can already see what I think I'm going to do is I have a few more pieces of weft, and what I think I'll probably do at the end is maybe just add those to the back. But let me do the front, and then I'll have an overall view. So this is my last section, what I'd call my section 5, and this is all your hard work done. Really, that once you get to this section, this is sort of the easy bit. Because once this is all nice and secure and done, okay, now I set the front on the small bendies because I wanted a lot of texture here. Now the Victorians loved they loved a frizzy fringe. They used to add hair. They used to have like shorter hair sometimes at the front, but they did like that texture and that shorter hair at the front. So right, here we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sides first. I'm going to leave this section here, this front section, and I'm just going to take the sides. Now remember, the whole thing about the whole late Victorian was the fact that the sides are very tight. They're tight to the head. So I want to keep that nice. I want to keep it nice and tight there. Okay, I'm just going to grip that in. Just going to grip it in there, nice and securely. Now I've got all this nice hair here, which, to be honest, I'm not going to do too much to that because I like that. I like that curl. So I'm just going to curl it in there. Just going to round it around my finger. Get a nice little ringlet there. Push that in, that in without too much fuss there. Let's keep that in. Right, and same on the other side. Keep your front section there and just take this side here and just pull it back. And then I'm going to check from the front what it looks like, because what I don't want any width at the side, because otherwise it starts to look either mid-Victorian or too Edwardian. So if we just take that back there, mat grip at the side because you don't want it to move. Okay, nicely gripped in there, and then with your end just use that, just pin that here and there, just pin it in. Sorry darling, I stabbed you there. Okay, right, and then just grip it in. Grip that. Okay, now right, I'm just going to hop round the front here because I want to just look. Don't you look at me, darling? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so it's nice and flat at the side. That's what I was concerned about. Just getting it. Now with your front, I've got a lot of texture in there, so I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to keep all that texture because I really like it. Okay, just so you can just literally yeah. I'm just going to keep that. Keep all that. You can see that little centre parting. I'm just going to keep that, and I'm just going to grip that in and keep all that frizz. As I say, it was very fashionable to have a lot of this frizz. And then let's just pin that, and then I'll have a little look, and I'll just see if it suits Daisy, but I'll do the other side, and then I'll have a little. So just as I say, the little bendies gave you lots of texture there. So I'll just okay. Take all of that and literally just pin that in. Okay, so once you're sort of happy, look at me, darling. Just make sure that you're happy with that shape. Now I've left a few little wispy bits there. As I say, Daisy is very she's very young, so it's quite nice and to have those little soft wispies. Right, I'm just going to make sure that I'm happy with that shape. Just check your profiles. Okay, and just pin in any, you've got like any sort of loose bits up here. Just grip them in. I'm just using the shiny grips, or you can use some little pins. The thing about the shiny grips is you just need to make sure that you can see them. Okay. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. The thing is, I can spend another 10 minutes probably just going over it and fussing, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give it a little spray. Okay, and can we stand up, darling? You stand up, and then I can have a little look. So I can see. There's just a bit. There's a slight lift on that side. Lift that up a little bit. Turn round for me. Check that. Just check that profile. So, there we are. Turn right round for me, darling. Right, yeah, right round there. So, there we can see nice shape, tight at the nape. Little pin in there. Just keep it nice. Tight here, the height here, the sort of continuation all the way over. Turn around the back, darling. Nice and narrow at the nape, and that way. Okay. Then you can, sometimes you can just put it out there. That's the same. So there we are, nice late Victorian shape. Thank you.